JP's Ponderings, and we are back. We're talking about wage increases. Now, this is obviously dear to my heart as an employer that spends over $200 million in wages every year. A little bit of an increase to that number definitely does hurt your bottom line, but everyone's saying, oh, your supermarkets are making too much money. I don't know how people don't understand that if we as an independent retailer aren't making money, we are unable to continue to open supermarkets that are continuing to battle head-to-head with Coles, Woolies and Aldi. And brand new greenfield supermarkets, you lose millions of dollars on before they might make money if you're lucky. It's a huge risk, a huge dent on your cash flow. And I don't know how people don't understand, well, you actually need profit to do this. Last year, we opened 3 greenfield sites. All of those sites are minimum $5 million each. Now, if we're not making money, we can't open those sites. And you might think, oh, poor you're not making money. I totally understand it. But if we're not, then you only have a few selections from when you buy groceries. And I can assure you that is the last thing that you want. Because nowhere else in this country do we see such a duopoly, and I'm going to throw the red treatment Audi in there, where such 3 players control over 65% of the market. Nowhere else, nowhere in the world has that. And that brings amazing market dominance. Oh, imagine being over 30% market share. The things I could do. And that's definitely what everyone is thinking at those businesses. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the cheeky little wage increase, 3.75, to help everyone in this cost of living crisis. Now, I looked up the other day, the average salary for someone in Australia is $89,000. I was staggered to think it was that much. But when you have a look at it, obviously everything's gone up. And I keep saying this, all the groceries have gone up, logistics has gone up, utilities have gone up. Don't get me started on electricity. I promise I won't talk about electricity today, but that has gone up, and now the 3rd consecutive year of wage increase. Oh, inflation's at 4% or so, give or take, and it's been higher, it's going up. Oh, let's pay people more. That'll fix it. Well, what's that do for small business? And the reason this is a problem for small business, the reason it is that we have a higher wage cost because we do not have the resource to be as efficient, you could say, as the major 2. Let's not talk about Audi because that's way lower down. Our percent of wage spend is approximately 12%. And when you compare that to Coles and Woolies, they're around the 7%. So that 3.75% increase is a major problem for when we're paying 12% wages compared to, let's say, other competitors when they're at the 7 and 8% range. Obviously, 3.75 is a lot less for them than it is for us because we do count on a few things. We do pride ourselves on our customer service. We do have more people on the shop floor. We are paying by percent by supermarket more per supermarket than the majors. So it is a problem. Now, okay, I understand people need to be paid more as well. So don't get me wrong on that side of the fence. We'll go to 2022, 5% pay increase. 2023, 5.75% pay increase. 2024, 3.75% pay increase. Now, don't get me started on, we've got 6 weeks to implement this. 6 weeks is what you've got. So we've already budgeted for next year. They now need to be adjusted. Now, I heard some peanut today on TV going, oh, small businesses should just make less money to account for this and don't increase their pricing. Obviously said by someone that doesn't have their own business. We need to make sure we're continuing to make money so we can reinvest back into this community like we have done for the last 50 years. Now, when we put our money back into the community, yes, we do charitable things and everything like that. That's just a given. But we want to make sure that when we're competing head to head against Coles, Woolworths and Aldi. And let's not get me started on how much tax we pay as Drakes compared to, let's not even go down the petrol side of the fence here and the mining side of the fence here that seem to have a free kick in this country. Thanks for Punters Politics for pointing all that out to us. It is madness to think that you have people out there trying to tell you how to run your own businesses. We are already in the supermarket game, I can talk about, fighting with one hand tied behind our back, putting up with the bullshit introduction Audi had into South Australia by getting the red carpet, and how Coles and Woolworths are so aggressive, whether they're stealing your leases, whether they're land banking, and whatever pricing they choose to do. We are competitive with our pricing with Coles, Woolworths and Aldi. Our value brand products are matched with the best price of Coles, Woolies and Aldi. So are we a leader in pricing? No, we're probably not. We're more a follower in pricing, and in that dictates how much profit we have. The fortunate part about our business is that the owner is Roger Drake, and if he chooses not to make money, that is up to him. But if that happens, that means we can't then reinvest like we have for the last 50 years back into the economy, reinvest by opening new stores, building a distribution centre to make us world-class right here in South Australia. So that couldn't happen unless you had that profit. Now, the electricity bill alone, now I know I'm talking about wages, we've gone from 7 million to 15 million overnight. No, that's a huge expense to a small business. We are not making billions of dollars of profit at all. So for us, when you're looking at a net of 1 to 1.5 to 2%, it's lean. And we need to make sure we're making the best possible decisions. These decisions aren't because, this is what Drake's wants. Drake's is here to be generational, and the decisions are made for the best interests of all of our team members, our 6,000 team members that we have. We are making those decisions. So we need to tread very carefully, as in the scheme of things, we are a very small fish in a very big pond when you're talking about supermarkets. So we need to make the decisions for the best possible outcomes for our team members. They have to be risky, yes, but they have to be very calculated like we've done in the past. So when I hear people say, just make less profit, I feel like saying, well, f*** you. We've got to be here for the long run. We've got to think generational. And my problem with politics is that whoever's in power thinks for 2 to 3 to 4 years and they don't think past that. When will we as a society get together and think long-term strategy so we can make sure it is the best interests of these businesses? Now, wage increase, all well and good. Okay, so small business will generally have to put up their prices to accommodate for that. You have already seen it yourself, the amount of cafes, the amount of restaurants, the amount of brewers, the micro beer places that are going broke. You're seeing that with your own eyes right now, and that will continue until something changes. The taxes on beer alone is ridiculous. That should be looked at, because I'm not an expert. But if I've got a beer business here and it does $1 million and I pay tax to the government, that's great. If I got a beer business here and it does $0, how much tax does that pay? None. So we should be getting it right from the get-go. So wage increases is very tricky. It's a very tricky minefield. I am not an expert in economics, but I can see what's going on from my own eyes and with the intel that we've got to say that we are in for some tricky times ahead. So where this really hits home for us is that people look at us in supermarkets and retail and they look at us and go, well, it's a step up from fast food. Now, let's not underestimate how well fast food joints, McDonald's specifically, I love you guys, how they train their cadets in store is amazing. And a lot of people come to us first time out of school, while in school, come to us for a job. And that to us, if we've got a wage budget that's been increased yet again in already tough times, what's the first thing the store management does and the supervision team? The first thing they do is try to work out how we can get that wage percent already in their budget. And then they're going to have to ask for more money for that budget, which becomes harder and harder and harder. We're looking at over 14% wage increase in 3 years. It's a lot. So it makes it more difficult for those that are trying their best to be able to be in a very competitive industry, and supermarket retailing is one of the most competitive industries around. Now, if you're worried about where money's going, look at who's paying taxes. Go have a look at the big tech out there that are paying bugger all tax. Go have a look at the mining out there that are paying bugger all tax, and have a look at the petroleum businesses that are paying bugger all tax. It is disgraceful. And here we are getting small amounts of money in the scheme of things from people that are doing it tough. Woolworths and Coles, they very rarely have night fill anymore. It's done during the day. Now, if you're at school, you can't work during the day, so your day filling patterns go. And then all the penalty rates that apply from being at night fill, it makes it very difficult for you, like I did, started in night fill, working after school. Because the businesses like us, well, hang on, that's penalty rates, that's time and a half. We look at that and go, well, we're trying to be as lean as possible in this process. And when the big players don't do it, it makes it very difficult for everyone else to do it. You don't see night fill as prevalent as it used to be. And we're trying to balance up by having that continued. But, when you're paying penalty rates for someone that comes in at 6 or 7 o'clock, it makes it a lot harder to keep your wage spend down. And this is just an example of when it changes at the big end of town, we're trying to accommodate both ends of town. And it's probably another reason why our percentage per store is a lot higher than the chains, because we understand that we're one of the first groups that people come to when they're first looking for a job. So if we take away that whole part of our business, then there's a chance that you won't get the people coming through, the young people coming through the business. If they don't stay with us, I understand that, that's fine. But if they grow on to do bigger and better things, I mean, half of our accounting guys are from the shop floor, the HR's from the shop floor. Like, so many of our talented individuals in our business are from the shop floor. If we take that away, then what are you actually left with? There you have it. That's my thoughts on wage increases. Bloody hell, you don't want to talk to me about taxes.